Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Smile. Today's guest is Taylah King. Taylah is an embodied dance artist and coach who brings to life her vision of spreading movement all around the world. Taylah believes that movement is medicine and has used dance, breath, and her connection to faith to help her through some incredibly challenging times, from a divorce to a drug-induced psychosis and severe mental health issues to a more recent heartbreak. She took a journey into the depths of rediscovery. It was in the depths of her darkness that she found herself again, but not the same woman who once partied, drank, and performed as a means to fit in. Taylah has a vision to spread her dance around the world and dances every day in public with her headphones to show freedom of expression through movement, to help support others to move freely in this world without substances. She is here today to share her story of overcoming substance abuse, heartbreak, and loss, to now be in a place of strength, wisdom, and following her dreams. Wow, Taylah, I'm so excited for this. Welcome to Behind the Smile. How are you today?
Thank you. I am good. It was really nice to hear the reflection actually of like that write-up. It's like just a real proud moment to see like where I was to where I am now.
Absolutely, and how much you've overcome, which it's such a big story. I remember when we first met last year and you so kindly shared just a small part of your story then, and I was just amazed to see everything that you're doing now in the online space and just this positive light that you're bringing to the world. It's really amazing to see.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how are you feeling about doing your first ever podcast, darling?
Excited. I'm really excited. I've always wanted to speak more on like online and with this sort of, I'm just excited to see what comes through today, and like done a little intentional prayer that like whatever comes through is supposed to. And so hoping it helps people that might find themselves in a fragile state or in the darkness. I think that that's really important. That's what I want to share today.
Amazing. Well, let's kick it off with some nice, easy questions to allow our audience to get to know you a little bit better. I'd love to know, where do you live? What does an average day look like? And what do you do for fun?
Okay, so first one, I'm in Byron Bay. I've just relocated about 7 months ago. So absolutely love it here. It's honestly incredible. My average, what was the second question?
What does an average day look like?
A lot of dancing and movement, like a lot. So originally I came up here and I basically have just been dancing on the beach every day. I find so much connection to nature, to my body, to myself when I'm dancing. So I spend a lot of my time dancing. I also am building my online platform with helping support women that might be going through their own rediscovery. So that's really in the build-up stage. And then I have streams of income, work a job, that old chestnut. So I do that, which that's what we're going to do.
That's right. And tell me, what do you do for fun? I mean, Byron, what a beautiful place to live.
Yeah.
I would love to live there.
Yeah, I mean, for fun, I think it's like, I'm just going to repeat myself, but it's dancing. That's what I really love to do. I love to connect with people. I find that really like who are also wanting to expand themselves, who are really growth mindset based. Like that brings a lot of joy to my life. I love cooking. So cooking brings me a lot of joy. Having deep conversations with friends and watching my favorite movies. Like I'm in all these little things that I couldn't do when I was having my mental health challenges. I just find a lot of enjoyment out of just day to day living, going for a walk on the beach, dipping my face in the ocean, like just little things now.
Yeah. Where did the dancing come from?
So I got goosebumps. My mum inspired me with dance. So I just remember growing up when I was a little girl and we would be in the family home on the little like deck inside. It was my like little amphitheater. And it was where I did all my performance shows in front of the family. Look at me. And so it was mum and I dancing was what really connected me to dance. And I've actually got a family friend of mine. She took me to a BABA concert. So do you remember ABBA?
Yeah.
Oh, but it was a BABA. So it was like a remake of ABBA. And I was just at the local pub. I don't know why this is coming through, but if she listens, she'll remember this. And she took me to this Baba thing. I think I would have been about 5 or 6. And I was just at the front, just like, dancing queen. So yeah, I just have always found so much joy in dancing. Yeah.
And I imagine there's a real freedom that comes with that.
Totally. Like when you can drop out of the mind, because I think sometimes we really get into this mind thing when we're dancing of like, oh, how do we look? Or, you're dancing with someone else and, oh, can they feel what I'm feeling? Like, but when we let go and fully just like drop into this like body sense of freedom within the movement, it's just so liberating. Like there's honestly nothing else that I can't even explain it. It's just liberating.
Yeah, well, even on a nervous system regulation standpoint, there's a reason why movement is one of the ways that we learn how to drop back into our body, whether it's like shaking or ecstatic dance or like that, all of these different ways of moving the body. There's a real connection, that somatic movement, that mind, body, soul connection. And I think so many of us are caught up in the self-consciousness, which, like you said, it's the head, it's the ego, it's that limiting beliefs around what it's meant to look like or should be like. And so to be able to drop out of the head and into the heart or into that felt experience, it is very liberating, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah.
So Taylah, I want to talk about your photo because you've brought in a photo today and it's from a time in your life where you were hiding behind a smile. So you were presenting one version of yourself externally, but internally you were really struggling. Could you please describe for our listeners the photo that I'm bringing up on the screen right now? What are we looking at here and what was truly going on for you at that time in your life?
Yeah, so that photo was just after I had basically decided to walk away from my marriage. So on the outside, like I still was really holding a smile. Like I remember my parents were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. It's all good. This is fine. This is exactly what I want. But like on the inside, and even going out in the public, like as soon as we ended, I was very active in socializing and because this is what I wanted and I should be happy and all of that. But I was also really stepping away from the use of substances as well. So that photo actually was a time where on the outside, I really looked like I was holding it together. But at night that was, and I think it was even in the day when I was by myself, I was not okay. Like I was like, what is going on? I was very lost. Yeah.
What did that look like, feel like? Like describe it a bit more for me.
As in describe like the situation or what it was feeling like for me?
I want to know what it was feeling like for you. Like, because we hear people come along and they say, I experienced, say, depression. And I'm curious to know what that actually feels like. Because I feel like everyone has a different experience of depression, of mental health experiences, of addiction. So I want to know, like in that state when you were alone, like what were you actually feeling?
Lonely, really lonely, isolated, confused. Yeah, I didn't know who I was. Yeah.
And were you, I know it's tough, sweetie.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just sort of going back there and it was really like, it was hard. It was really hard. Because I wanted to still feel like I had it all together. Yeah, and I didn't want to give in to this like whole thing of it's, there was a part of me that didn't want to say, no, I'm not actually okay. Because there was this pride.
Yeah, I remember feeling the exact same way. And I think we're so conditioned to put on the smile and to keep going. And, part of it as well is I remember like I didn't want to bother anyone. I felt like I had made the decision, particularly with leaving a marriage. I was the one that had made the decision. So who was I to then experience grief or, find it? I relate to all of that. And then so at that time, you mentioned you were sort of trying to walk away from substances. Did that increase after the end of the marriage or had you sort of stopped at that time?
I remember the last like sort of point where I was like, this is it. I was in Byron Bay actually with my ex-husband and we were at the caravan park where we were staying. We'd actually sold our home and we had our dog and we were deciding like, let's go live this free life, but there was still something inside of me going, this isn't it. Like, there's no amount of getting rid of everything that's going to create the freedom when I felt the marriage was also already, it just wasn't working. So we did all that. We got to the caravan park, and there was one night I ended up I think we had a disagreement. I don't even know what it was over, but I ended up saying, like, take me to the bottle shop. And he took me to the bottle shop, and I got 2 bottles of wine, and I went back to the caravan. I haven't talked about this. So this is like big. Yeah. I went back to the caravan, and I basically just drank and drank. And I drank he'd had a couple of glasses, not many. And I just finished, I think it was 2 bottles of wine. And I think I just like cried and said, I just can't do this anymore. I just can't do this. And I was just plastered. And I remember just like the next day, I don't even think that I thought I had a problem with I don't think I was really clear to it, because I was like, oh, I'm functioning. I go to work, all of that. I'm doing all these things. Like, I don't think I realized. I don't even know what the question was, but I don't know how it got there. But yeah.
We were talking about whether or not the marriage breakdown accelerated your substance use, or whether that was at the point where you were starting to turn away from it.
Yes.
And so, you mentioned that in your mind, you didn't think that you had a problem with substances. Let's go back a little bit. When did you actually first start experimenting with alcohol and then perhaps drugs later down the track?
Yeah, I wanted to say, so I didn't end up using after that point. I was like, that's it. But I'll talk a little bit more about that, because I ended up using again after my ayahuasca experience. So yes, so the question around when I started. So I would have been, I think, around 14 when I started drinking. And my first experience on alcohol, I was with some friends at the time, and I was at her house, and we got like the bags of goon and I just downed it, just completely downed it. I was in the bed unconscious. They were feeding bananas to try and like wake me up. Like, I was just vomiting. It was just like, and that was my first experience on drinking. Yeah.
Do you remember the actual sensation, the feeling? Like, I know for me, I remember having the first experience of drinking. I was the same. I drank to blackout. I was vomiting, but I actually like loved it in this weird way. I was like, oh, I need to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. There was just this sense of freedom that I got. Like, I didn't have to care about anything, and I could just be whoever I wanted. And almost like as well, like people just had to take care of me. It's like, look after me. It just, I don't know. There was just something. I loved getting to the end of the week knowing that I wouldn't remember the weekend. Yeah.
I really relate to that.
Yeah.
What kind of child were you, Taylah? Like, were you a little girl who was always looking to escape? Do you remember those feelings?
Yeah. Growing up, I used to run away a lot. So I was always like the teenager that ran away. I would run away to ex-boyfriend's house. I would run up to the local fire brigade and just sit there, and I was always the one that just like, if anything happened, I would just, I'm going, pack my bags as a little girl, just catch you later. So I was always escaping. Yeah, there was always a sense of escape.
It makes so much sense then that when you then find this substance that allows you to escape without having to even go anywhere, like you could be in your bedroom and escape, it just, to me, that just makes perfect sense as to why you were probably so drawn to it. So like you said, you were really managing it for a period of time. Can I ask what age you were when you got married? Because you're so young.
Yeah, so I was 28 when I got married. I think 27 or 28. And we were together, married for 3 or 2 years. Oh, I should remember that. It was a very blurry time, hey?
And at the time, were you thinking, like, I want the white picket fence, like, I want the kids, I want was that everything? Was that sort of the vision that you had going for yourself?
Yeah, we were living on the outside, we were living the dream life. Like, we'd just bought a house in the Sunshine Coast. We had our dog. We had great jobs. We had, good friends around, family support. Like, it looked like we were living a great life. The photos would have showed we were really happy. Yeah.
When did you start to notice that inner whisper that was like, something's not right here?
Probably, so we were together for 12 years. So
Wow.
it would have been 6 years into the relationship, around, 5 or 6 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know for me that in a number of the relationships I've had in the past, because alcohol was such a heavy feature, it allowed me to numb out and to almost ignore red flags or paint them green or just kind of disconnect from the reality of what was in front of me. Do you think there was a bit of that happening?
Yeah, and there was also a sense of safety that I felt like I was getting by having just another person that was like, he was my best friend. So it was like there was that safety, but then there was also, which is ironic because he also didn't provide emotional safety. So maybe it was just wanting someone there. And I think that that's what I really struggled with the leaving, was like, I've actually got to do this on my own. And I don't know if I can.
It's so terrifying, isn't it? I don't know about you. I'm imagining it's probably the same. If you were together for 12 years, so you would have met when you were,
I knew him since I was like around six or seven. We actually grew up together. Yeah, so we grew up together.
Goodness.
I was friends with all his friends. He was friends with all my friends. So we were intertwined into each other's lives for our whole lives, basically.
Yeah, just I can only imagine then to even comprehend the unraveling of that would have felt so overwhelming. And then to step into this chapter where you're truly alone. I remember leaving my husband and moving into an apartment by myself. I'd never lived alone. I'd gone from being in my family unit to living with boyfriends. Was that the same for you?
Yes. Yeah, very much so. But it was a bit different because I had the experience of psychosis pretty much like 6 months after it was actually when we separated in June of 2022, but we actually ended like May of 2023. Like that was when we were like, okay, we can't keep connecting. We were trying back and forth. It wasn't working. And I think, I basically went into a psychosis pretty much straight after that. I was living already in Byron Bay by myself, but I was very unstable and
Was the marriage breakdown what led to the desire to explore ayahuasca? How did that come about?
Yeah, I feel I was seeking outside myself a lot. So I was like crumbling. I was seeking therapy from all avenues, just like, help me, help me, help me. And I met this person through a friend of mine at the time, and he was quite encouraging that this was the most perfect time to do something like this because you're going through such a bad situation. Which I don't think, and this is what I do want to share, I don't think that someone going through something needs plant medicine to be able to like find themselves. Everyone has their own opinion on plant medicine. For me, there was no like medical screening. Have you had any psychosis in the past? Have you had any mental health issues in the past? Have you had any abuse with substances? There was no screening, and it was just, I was in a fragile state, and I was like, this is going to save me. And this guy who I've just met, who I'm putting all my trust in, is telling me that it's going to save me. So I need to be saved. So it was a vulnerable decision. And yeah, I guess anyone listening, I think it's really important to be aware of, like, just to do your research with like a substance or a plant medicine. Yeah, I think so.
Can you please describe for people who don't know what ayahuasca is? You just touched on the fact that it's a plant medicine, but what does it actually do? Like for somebody who's never heard about this before, can you kind of just touch on what happens?
Yeah, so basically it's a plant from the Amazonian jungle. I don't know too much history about it, but it's basically a drink that you drink. So they give you a drink, they mix it with, I don't know what he mixed it with, but mix it with something, you drink it in a ceremony with a group of people, and basically it takes you to this like complete other place, and you have really vivid hallucinations. And they say from a psychology lens, you're tapping into your subconscious of like trauma and things like that. So for me, because I'd gone through so much, I was seeing a lot in it, and it was really hard to hold. I don't want to talk too much into it because it's quite full on what happened in the experience, but I wasn't there physically. Like, I physically wasn't there. I was definitely, moving quite a lot around the room. And yeah, basically the design of ayahuasca essentially is supposed to, they call it like a healing medicine that will, the mother of ayahuasca, they call it the mother plant, will help reveal things that you need for your journey in life.
And so that was not your experience. Is that what then set off the psychosis for you?
Yeah, I think that was a main part. I think when I came out of that experience, I wasn't the same again, definitely. I was very disassociated. I didn't know what disassociation was at the time, but I just wasn't physically grounded in the body. Yeah, I'm just going to take a breath for a sec because I can just feel like I don't want to go back too much into that. So what I'm doing now, if anyone watches this, I have learnt through psychotherapy. So integrational therapy after a plant medicine is so important because they teach you how to integrate the visuals of what you saw into the body in real time. And for me, I find movement, and just breathing, a good way to just, okay, I could just feel myself starting to dissociate a bit.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. All right. We're good.
And so when you say psychosis, we had a woman on here recently who actually shared her experience about postnatal depression-induced psychosis. And I had no idea that psychosis could be something that you live with and still go on day to day. I thought that, because again, the movies have sold us this idea that you're in a straitjacket and you're rocking back and forth, and that's what psychosis is. But it's very multifaceted. So would you mind sharing, let me know if you're comfortable enough to share kind of how did that show up for you?
There was a lot of fear. So I had the experience in December. That's when I had the ayahuasca. When I came out of it, I wasn't grounded. I was very floaty. There was a lot of stress going on in my life. My mum had come out of a coma. I had sold my home. I went through my divorce. And then in May, my dog passed away. He got hit by a car. Yeah. So there was a lot of things that just were full on going on in my life. And the experience was in December, but there was a lot of trauma and delusion and things coming up for me throughout that period, December to May. And it was in May, I was actually doing things like astral projecting. So again, astral projecting is avoiding, I was very much spiritually bypassing myself. I was wanting to escape any form. And because I wasn't using substance, I was like, well, I'm not using substance anymore, so it's fine. So I'm just going to astral project and get out of the world because I don't want to be here. So I was doing that a lot, astral projecting. And
for anybody who doesn't know what that is, do you mind giving us a little bit of a 101 on astral projection?
Yeah. So basically, so astral projecting is you're in a meditation, but you take a part of you out of your body and almost go into the ethos or the universe or wherever you want to call it. And I was visualizing myself in space all the time. And I basically was connecting to spirits. So I was felt like I was really channeling spirits. I was doing all of this oracle card readings for people. I was very out of my body. So astral projecting, if that explains it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically a meditation that takes you out of your body. Yeah.
It makes so much sense the way you were describing that if your old coping strategy was to escape and you used substances to do that, without the inner healing and all of the work that you've now done, which we'll talk about in a moment, of course you're then going to go, well, I still need to escape. So now I'm just going to find another way to do it. And I love that, you touched on this idea of spiritual bypassing, which I think, because it can feel really scary and really intimidating to actually sit with yourself and drop into your body and you know, the fact that you're now an embodied dance leader is just incredible. But it's really scary to do that when your body itself doesn't feel safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't know anything to do with like how you connect to the emotions that are actually in your body. I had no idea. I was doing a lot of talk therapy, but that wasn't connecting me to my body. So the experience happened in May, and I know you were asking the question around what was I experiencing in that. So after the astral projecting, there was one night that, yeah, I basically just did it, and I woke up at 2 a.m. and it felt like my whole soul and spirit had just left my body. I wasn't here at all. I just felt so connected. And then I started to hear voices. I started to have really intense visions, really, really dark visuals. And yeah, it was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I didn't know what to do, so I called a family member. I actually called my ex-husband to start off with because we had just ended and he was my safe space and he knew a lot about my anxiety and everything like that. And he was like, I can't support you in this. You know, I get it because we had to close, and it was like, but yeah, I ended up calling my nan, and she basically flew up, and I went into the hospital, and there was this fear around the straitjacket. I was like, I'm having and the worst part about this is, and I think this is where mental health clinics need to probably shift and change, is they took me straight into a locked room. So I was already in this state of hearing things and everything you see in the movies. And then all of a sudden they've put me into this room and they've locked the door. And I'm just like my nan's in there with me, but I'm still like, I'm in jail. And then the visuals started getting worse and yeah, it was, so a lot of my psychosis, I had 3 active episodes. So the first one was quite dark and it stayed dark for 2 years. So it was a 2-year period. Yeah. The second one was, I can't remember what the second one was, but the third one was actually an overdose from the medication. And basically I thought that I had died and took everyone to this dark place. And I thought literally I was dead. I was hospitalized a lot of times. So I was put into emergency and stuff like that. But my experience with psychosis was very, very dark. And because I thought that I was dead, I didn't think anyone was real. So talking to you, I was like, just didn't think you were real. I was like, you're not a real person. It was hard to explain. It's hard to put into words, but it was very dark. And I did face a lot of shadows, a lot of my shadows in that I'm still integrating for sure. Yeah.
And so where does one start in the middle of all of that? What were the things that really helped you to heal, to recover, to get well?
Yeah. I honestly thought I was in it forever because I thought the experience I was having, because I thought that I was dead, I didn't think there was a way to get out because I was like, well, I'm already dead. And no one can help me because I'm trapped. I'm trapped in this place that no one else is actually here. So it's literally just me. I thought it was just me in this world. So I had no hope. There were a little glimmers of my mum was my real safe rock. She was honestly my safe place. She was the only person that could actually sometimes bring me back to a sense of reality and no, you're not dead, Taylah. I thought I had no heart. I thought I had no brain. I had so many different, I literally would knock on my head, I've got no brain. I've got no heart. I used to when I went to a clinic over in Bali, and I would get them to check my pulse every day because I would say, I don't have a heart. And then they would literally the psychosis can take you to so many different places. And it isn't just caused with ayahuasca or a plant medicine. It can be from having a child. There was a lot of people I met on a group, Hope for Psychosis it was called. And it was a Facebook group for people going through psychosis. And there was a lot of stories of people just having psychosis from stress.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So to
it's
answer,
almost Sorry, I was going to say, it's almost like, I imagine it's a way of we can only hold so much. And if it just gets too much, it's almost like the brain's way of just going, we're checking out of this. We can't hold this.
Yeah.
And so you then you step into that altered state. And it's, just, I guess the really overwhelming part is you don't know when you're going to come back.
Yeah. I didn't ever think I was coming back. Truly, never ever thought I was coming back. And there are people that don't. And I think that's I had the CAT team coming most days for quite a long time. And they continue to say, she's still got her awareness. And because I was still aware, but I was like, they were like, we just can't understand how you've got psychosis when you are so verbally okay to speak. But I'm like, you have no idea what's going on in my head. You just don't know. I personally believe, this is my belief, I think that there's a mental aspect of it, certainly, but I believe there's also a spiritual component of it. And I don't want to dive too deep into that today, but I definitely believe that there's a mixture. Of the mental stuff was definitely like when you have that paranoia and then you see something that confirms that, that's when it keeps going. So I was really caught in like signs. I don't look into signs anymore. I used to be like, 1111 or like all these like angel numbers, and I don't do any of that anymore because it's just, it takes me to a place I don't need to be. I'm like, I just want to be grounded here. And I believe that there's synchronicities for sure, but I don't dive too deep now into the whole do you know what I mean?
So when did you start coming out the other side of that final episode?
It was January last year, so still pretty fresh. And essentially, I basically gave my life to Christ. So I was very much in the spiritual world, and I was doing a lot of Reiki and meditation and all of these modalities. And I ended up having a friend of mine, a really close friend of mine. She has been a Christian for her whole life. And she said, Tay, she was really talking about Jesus. And I was like, I don't believe in Jesus. Like, I don't believe in any of that. I'm not a Christian. I went to a Christian school. Don't believe it. Don't buy into it. And she basically just had a conversation with me, and she said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I honestly was at the point where I was actually I didn't want to be here anymore. So I was like, I had like a plan and everything like that. And it was pretty bad. And I just said, when you're at the end of your rope and you're just like, I just can't do this anymore, you do anything. So I ended up giving my life to Jesus. And I basically, it wasn't straight away. I just started to notice changes happen in my life, and I started to connect to God again. And everyone's got their own beliefs of what they see as God and everything like that. And I'm not here to say this is the way, but for me, this is what happened. And my connection to faith started to grow, and I ended up actually meeting someone. So I met someone and we hit it off. He became my partner for 6 months, and he actually was the first person that I felt love for again in 2 years. So it was a combination, I feel, of the practices I'd been doing with Laura. So I had been working with her for about a year, and she was just incredible. She was honestly, one day I can't wait to have a call with her about this, because she's incredible. She's incredible at what she does. And she just
I was just going to say, so for those who are wondering who Laura is, we're talking about Laura Corcoran. She's been on the podcast a few times, so you can go back and check out those episodes. I can link them in the show notes, and we're also about to run our retreat together on the Gold Coast. So that's who we're talking about here. Yes.
Yes, Laura, if you guys are thinking about this retreat, do it, because Ash is amazing and Laura is incredible as well. That woman, she just was there. She just gave me the tools, all of these things. Every time I'd be like, this isn't going to work, she would just know what to say. I honestly really didn't like her for some of the sessions, because she would literally just tell me everything that I didn't want to hear.
Yeah, she's good at that.
And even this morning, she sends me a voice note. Oh, I've just got some feedback of what I want to share with you. And I'm like, oh, here we go. It's okay. She was,
What is it though to have those women in your life, whether it's a mentor or a friend, and you know that they're always coming from a place of love and they just want to see you grow and be the best person you can be.
Totally. So, and she's been in my corner ever since. She's honestly an inspiration, really. She was a massive part of my getting out. My family, for sure, I have to like say that my family were my rocks. Like they were the only ones that were really there for me. That I had a couple of friends that stayed around, but they really, really like stood by me, especially my mum. Like I have to say that. The connection to God again, like turning to Christ and a religion, like having something to hold on to, that was like huge for me in my recovery and coming out of it. And then practicing all of the practices, embodiment, movement, all of that, retraining the mind, like starting to retrain the mind, and then falling in love again. Like I really fell in love more than I ever have before. And because I had gone 2 years, so I was dissociated for those 2 years. So basically I had no connection to like my emotions really. Like I would cry sometimes, but not really. I couldn't feel what joy felt like. I couldn't feel love. And I couldn't connect to music or dance. So the one, like music and dance was always through my life, something that I used as a way of like going through breakups, or if someone passed away, it was just like I'd always dance and express. And I didn't dance basically for 2 years. I didn't even listen to music. And the two things, and it was almost for me like God was taking it away because I had to be with myself in this like super dark place. So I hope that answers a little.
For sure. Oh my gosh, it's definitely helping me to understand this journey for you to be able to go from where you were to where you are now. You know, it's no surprise that I'm part of a 12-step community, as many of my listeners know, and one of the key components of that is connecting to a higher power. You know, it's not a religious program, but it is a spiritual program. And if your God is Jesus, if it's Christ, that's great. If it's Buddha, that's great. If it's Allah, it doesn't matter. It could be the ocean.
Yes,
it's your concept, but it's this ability to be able to hand over your troubles, your sorrow, your pain, your grief, whatever it is, to be able to, you know, to feel that love and that support and that guidance.
Totally.
So for me, I connect on a daily basis through prayer and meditation. I'm curious to know, like, how do you connect?
I dance. So I dance. So most mornings they look like, and I'm just getting back into a better routine because I have a home finally. So I will do like a little bit of a prayer. So I use prayer as like a way of connecting. I thank thank God for like this beautiful day. Thank you for gifting me with another beautiful day to like show up in the world. I will read. I've actually gotten more into reading my Bible now. So I'll read my Bible as like scripture. And then I connect to myself through breath. So the breakup with my ex last year was almost like another unraveling to a deeper connection to myself. Like that took me to another like depth of something I've not experienced. It was not as dark as the experience of 2 years, but it was still a heartbreak I've never felt before, which is wild. And I was like, how do I be with this? Because I had so much anxiety coming up every morning, and I was like waking up with anxiety. I'm like, how do I be with this? And I really had to I took a break from social media, and I knew I had to just disconnect, and I came back to my body and I just breathed, and I was like, okay, I can hear you, anxiety, almost like a mother talking to their child. Like, I hear you, anxiety. Like, what do you want to say to me? And it might just be like, I'm hurting, or like, I'm scared, or like, so I heard like, I'm scared. Okay, what are you scared of? And I started to nurture these parts of me that I've never really supported and held before. So my morning practice, I know I'm jumping around a bit, but my morning practice looks a little bit like connecting to my breath. What does my body feel like? How do I want to move today? And sometimes I might hear, I just want to really move slowly. So I'll just put on like a song and I'll just like connect. And like sometimes because people, when they see me dance, they're like, I can't dance because I just don't want to do that. Or like some people I've met in a wheelchair and they're like, oh no, I can't dance. And I want to show people like, you don't have to dance. Like energetically. You could dance with just your hands, like literally just even getting into a practice of like, this morning I'm just going to move my hands to the music and this feels amazing. And where do you feel it? Oh, I feel this in my body. Okay, what part of your body? Oh, I feel it in my heart. How do you know you feel it in your heart? Oh, because it's starting to expand. I feel lighter. Like, it's like guiding myself through this like incredible process. And from that, breakup and the psychosis and leaving the world of substance abuse, it's really allowed me to come back to me, my body. What does she need every single day? Yeah.
What do you think it was that made you turn to this different path, particularly when you were going through the heartbreak last year? Were you sober at the time?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Because that's a wild ride, isn't it? I always say to people, watch out for heartbreak and sobriety because you feel that shit. Like, holy dooly, buckle up.
You're so right. Hey, it was the first sober relationship I had been in as well. And maybe that's why I felt it so much, because I was sober and I could feel everything about that person.
Yeah.
So the breakup, I mean, I've had the most beautiful poetry pieces that have come through from that breakup. I've had like a whole performance show of dance come up in my mind. I've had like, I mean, I'm working with a couple of clients now who have like gone through their own breakup. Like, the darkest and the times that you feel that you really are like, why is this happening? There's always a greater purpose, and we just don't see it when we're in it.
1,000%. I remember being in a really, really dark place just before actually I met my now husband. And I remember speaking to my dad about it one day, and he said, "Sweetie, you may not understand why you're in what you're in right now and why you're having to go through this lesson." But he said, "I promise you one day there's, because part of the 12-step community, I'm supporting other women." He said, "One day someone's going to come to you and they're going to be in the exact same position, and you're going to be able to share from a place of lived experience." And he's so, so right. I can't tell you how many women I now have who are, in the same, making the same mistakes I made, in that same level of depth of pain. And I'm just like, it's going to be okay.
I love
it's
that
hard
so
to see
much.
at the time.
Yeah. So Laura said something similar. So she actually was like, Taylah, when we first met, you said your biggest purpose in this life was to help people with mental health, and mostly mental health issues. And she said, I want to just remind you that you've put that out there, that's your biggest why. So you're going to obviously be hit with the hardest time of your life. And you're learning this so that you can actually empathize with those that have. Like, you've now got lived experience. And I was like, no, I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to do it. It's yucky. It's so true, though.
And honestly, good on you for what you've done. Your story is inspiring as well. Like, truly, when you spoke that day, it was just so resonating to me. And I think I remember sharing that with you. I was like, I just relate to so much of what you had shared. So, yeah.
Well, that's something else I wanted to talk about, is like your willingness to put yourself in the room. So we met at an event that I spoke at last year down on the Mornington Peninsula, and you got yourself there, and it was a day retreat, and we there were embodiment practices, meditation. We had a guest panel of speakers. Why did you decide to put yourself in that room?
So so Jess Jackson, she's actually a family friend of mine. So I saw what she was doing, and I was like, oh, this will be amazing. And I had just literally gone out of the separation from my ex. So I think it was like a week after. And I was like, all right, well, it just felt supportive. And I was also building my own business at the time, and I had invited someone along, but they couldn't make it, which it kind of works out well, because I needed it more than actually I thought she needed it. I was like, oh, this will be great for her. So I'm going to actually pay for her to come. And she never came. So, I mean, it was just stepping forward. And I think this is what I notice. I'm not sure if you feel the same. There's a fear that arises for women to, or even people in general, to really step forward. Like, they see the offerings. You can tell they're watching. You can tell they feel something, but they're like, I'm scared. So I just want to say, like, that was an amazing experience. And if there is any nudge for anyone to do something themselves, like, I know it's scary, but just you won't regret it, is all I'm going to say. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. The only thing guaranteed, I believe, in life is that if we don't do anything to change, we stay the same. And sometimes it can feel really overwhelming to know what to do next. I'm actually in a little bit of that space myself. And I was chatting to one of my mentors yesterday about this. And she kind of shone a light on like what the next step might be for me, which is perhaps a pilgrimage to India to get a little bit more clarity around a few things. And I feel that as an edge because I'm like, ooh, that feels, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But then I'm like, but I can tell if that's where I'm meeting the edge, that's where I need to go.
Yeah.
And, and that might be more on an extreme scale, but, a few years ago, it might have been just getting myself to that event or just booking myself onto that retreat so that you can start to be around like-minded people who are going to inspire you. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. Like it's about really feeding off that energy of people who are living a life that you perhaps aspire to emulate one day, or people that you really respect. And so, supporting anyone who's listening along to find their edge, whatever that may look like for them, and to feel supported in knowing that you're worthy of investing in yourself, however that looks, because it's amazing, this world.
100%. I want to just touch on that. So, like taking a bit, like that's an incredible thing to do. And I honestly, if that's what you're getting called to do, go do it. Yeah. But when you were talking, I was like I was visualizing myself in this place of where I was. And I even just like getting up for a shower was like really hard. So it's like, just like the discomfort in doing even just like the small things, like go for a walk, or like if you have a shower today and you're going through some really tough times, like good on you, like really just be so proud of yourself. Like look at the end of the day and just be like, wow, I actually like did some washing today and that was really hard, but I did it. Because I think there's also a fear component of like, oh, that's way too much versus like, do you know what I'm saying? So
1,000%.
Yeah.
And I think it also comes back to that embodiment piece, which you've been talking to today. When you can really feel into where you're at, where your energy levels are at, what actually am I able to achieve today? And it's not always about every single day being at this kick-ass day where you've ticked everything off your to-do list and you're achieving all of these things. Like even this week, I have really felt my physical energy levels have been off. My sleep hasn't been great, even though I've been getting to bed at a reasonable time. I'm really struggling to fall asleep. Now that's not normal for me, but as a result, I'm adapting my day to day. I'm slowing things down a little where I can, and if that's possible to be able to do that, I think it's really important. It's all about, again, coming home to self and really feeling into your energy and asking what you need. But to your point, it's important not to compare your capacity to someone else's. It's just about getting really honest with yourself, but also knowing where you might be playing small but out of fear and where you can step into that, that expansiveness as well.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. So looking back on this journey and where you're at now, what do you think has been the most important element of your transformation and your recovery?
Knowing myself for sure, and my nervous system. Yeah, definitely. Like really having more awareness around my body and the body's messages. I'm very connected to my body now. And that's been the biggest thing, because I feel if we all learn how to like connect to us, our bodies, instead of seeking externally, there would be I feel a lot of things would change like drastically around the world.
Completely agree with you.
Yeah.
It's been the biggest lesson for me to stop seeking for the answers out there and to realize that they're actually already in here. But if you're in here, if your internal world does not feel safe, then there's going to be resistance to go there. So it is a process. And I think your story so highlights that. It's just incredible that you went from living outside of yourself for 2 years to now being so embodied and sharing that with the world.
Yeah, and you're right, because it is scary for people to like feel into their grief or their anxiety or their pain. And that's why we do seek outside of ourselves, because to face it is so scary. Like,
hey, Tay, give me 1 second, babe. I think my dog.
Hey, I just got a cough.
That's all right. I'll edit this part. My dog, he's been...
Or you can put it in. Bloopers. Absolute bloopers.
You know, I just had to take him outside. Okay, so I've got 2 more questions. Is that all right?
Yes. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, beautiful. Awesome. So, Taylah, we're coming towards the end of our conversation. But before I ask the final question, I want to know, is there anything else on your heart, anything you feel you're being called to share in this space?
Wow, that's a good question. What do I want to share? I don't think so. I don't think that I feel like the conversation we've had really speaks for itself. Yeah, I don't have anything coming through.
I know that you're quite embodied and in tune, so I just wanted to make sure I gave you the space to feel into that. That's perfect. So the final question that I want to ask you, Taylah, is what are your 3 non-negotiables that allow you to live your life today happy, authentic, and free?
Having a daily consistent practice for me, not for anyone else. It's really important. Really invite myself to come back to myself every single day is so important. Whether it's maybe I might miss it in the morning and I have to do it in the afternoon, just at least having something that I come back to myself with the breath and movement. That's a real non-negotiable for me. Boundaries. Really, I've had to learn my own boundaries and use my voice when it comes to things that aren't in alignment with my values anymore. And so that means having really hard conversations with people that I've not always wanted to have. Yeah, and I guess that leads into the third, which is, living in a way that is around my values. So, I have some big dreams, and it does include dancing, training to be a contemporary dancer and things like that. I want to be showing this movement in such a beautiful way on stages around the world. I also, there's going to be artists that might contact me, and there would have been the old self, which is oh, yes, that would have been this isn't, but there's also the embodied me now, which is all right, this is cool, this is exciting, but is this person in alignment with my values? And if they're not, then it's I've got to say no. And that comes to, working with clients as well. So I think it's really important. That's why I do an initial screening at the start. What are you wanting to get out of this? Where are you at? And if I feel that they need more support or they're not where it's important to have those conversations as well. So yeah, definitely morning practice, boundaries, and living in alignment with your values.
Amazing. There are 3 incredible non-negotiables. So thank you for sharing those, Taylah. If people want to track you down, find out more, follow your movement, where can they go?
So they can find me on Instagram. I didn't want to be on Instagram, but I'm here. And I'm actually loving it. I actually really enjoy Instagram. It's become such a creative platform for me, and it feels like a MySpace back in the day.
Amazing.
Taylah King Movement is my Instagram and Facebook. And I share most of my stuff through that. And my website and all of that is on there. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, I will link all of that into the episode show notes. We say here on Behind the Smile that when we recover loudly, no one needs suffer in silence. So I just want to say thank you so, so much for being here today, Taylah.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah,
Thanks.
So good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, Angel. We'll chat soon. Bye.